Whatever studio north. We join you on a beautiful Thursday night in Fargo, and hopefully it's a beautiful night in Winnipeg. We are broadcasting on the mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7 FM, as well as YouTube Live. So if you want to see our pretty faces, go on YouTube Live. You can follow us each and every week at 5:30. Probably a few time changes once NFL football ends, the season ends. And make sure to stay tuned after because there's an NFL football game this evening as well. Derek, who plays this evening?
We've got the Las Vegas Raiders and the LA Rams. So a couple teams that are in newer cities taking on each other.
Well, make sure to stay tuned. Thursday, you can't get that on regular TV anymore. So radio is where you got to get it. So right here on the mighty 790 KFGO post game on hockey with my good friend Scott Taylor. And again, I always want to start this way. We don't do this without the sponsors, right? Nillis Law Firm, the Golf Center, Ralph Engelstad Arena, the Sioux Shop in Ralph Engelstad Arena, Dave Noah, Legacy, Remax Legacy, Jarrell's Hockey World, and of course, Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy. Without the sponsorship, Scott, we don't do this each week, but boy, we have a lot of fun. And boy, talk about some great news. I was going to ask you the highlight of Scott Taylor's week. I didn't know this news until about a minute ago when you emailed me. We got some exciting stuff to share.
Yeah, I think as the season goes along, thanks to Scott Brown and his crew, with the Winnipeg Jets, we may have a couple of surprise Winnipeg Jets guests coming up for the next few months, and it will be big shows for those folks in Minnesota because I think we've got the Minnesota guys coming.
Yeah, there's a few of those on that Winnipeg Jets roster. So,
by the way, I was going to ask you with tonight's football game.
Yeah,
are they flying you out to play quarterback for the Rams tonight, or is
me and Johnny Manziel? I'm taller than Johnny is. I'm not sure I can throw the ball very far though. I'm staying. I was in St. Louis on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It was 52 degrees last night when I left there. Got home at midnight and it was 0. So a little bit of a shock to the system, but I was outside for a whole 10 minutes, of course, when you're in places for meetings. But it's funny, Scott, I was thinking the St. Louis area. I tried out for the St. Louis Blues 42 years ago. I only been to St. Louis twice, and there wasn't to play hockey for the St. Louis Blues, so it tells you where my hockey career went as well. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about the highlights of your week. We're kind of changing things up a little bit. This is a bit of a surprise to you. We didn't get a chance to talk about that, but highlights of your hockey week. A lot of great things going on north of the border, and of course, we got the Minnesota Wild kind of catching on fire as well. So the hockey news is a very hot commodity right now, isn't it?
Well, the highlight of the week was 2 nights ago. Hockey's a funny game, and you played it at a very high level. Odd things happen in this sport. The Winnipeg Jets beat Colorado 5-0 and look like a Stanley Cup contender. And they come back a couple of nights later and lose 4-1 at home to the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I watched it and couldn't believe anything I saw, except for Patrick Laine's 2 shots. And I'm getting texts and emails from people, whoever traded Patrick Laine, they should be fired. And then I'm watching the game and I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute, you're not watching. Patrick Laine took 2 shots.
Right.
The rest of the time, he never met a defenseman. I swear he does not know the name of his goaltender. He was never inside of his own blue line for the entire night. And the Jets finished with 37 shots. So they were phenomenally good. They just couldn't beat Corpsalo, which isn't the first time somebody's run into that. But they were the better team. They lose 4-1. Everybody thinks Patrick Laine is the second coming, but he has 2 shots and does nothing else the entire night. And the best player on the ice is the guy they traded Laine for, Pierre-Luc Dubois. He's clearly the best player on the ice all night long. He chances and making plays. But Patrick Laine is the greatest player ever lived because he made 2 shots.
Yep.
So, of course, last night, Patrick Laine made 2 more shots in a, 9-4 loss to Buffalo.
I was on an airplane. I didn't see it.
Some guy from Phoenix got 5 goals. I mean, it's a scary time in hockey right now. Arguably the 2 best offensive players in the game, well, Connor McDavid and these 2 guys, Austin Matthews and Tage Thompson, are both from Phoenix.
Yeah.
Give that some
crazy,
thought for a second. Here we are in North Dakota, where all the great hockey players should come from. Manitoba, where all the great hockey players, they're coming from Phoenix now, my friend, and that's why we've had that conversation 50 times about the growth in NCAA Division I hockey. Yep. Now comes the next. The next one is they play Anaheim on Sunday, and they come out and it is stinky. They're awful. They get outshot 18-7 in the first period, down 2-0. But you know what the best thing about that 2-0 deficit was? The way the odds changed on Bet365. We were able to nail the Winnipeg Jets to make about $50 on a $5 bet. And the Jets not only came back, they came back and blew this poor Anaheim team right out of the building. Like it was ugly. It was 5-2 and could have been 9-2. And I just wonder, as my highlights and lowlights of the week came and went, that it's a game that is so strange because there are two teams on the ice and there are goalies on the ice and anything can happen. And it continues to mean to me that the great thing about the game of hockey is that it's so close. It's just so close at the level. When you get to the NHL level, Anaheim is a terrible team, but any night they can beat somebody. Columbus is a terrible team. Any night they can beat somebody. At least we look at it from a subjective standpoint that they're not a very good team. But the reality is they are. Some teams don't get great goaltending from time to time. Some teams make mistakes because they're young for whatever reason. But these guys are all fast and skilled and fun to watch, and they hit, and there's contact, and it's such a wonderful sport to watch. And that's why I have absolutely come to the conclusion after 50 years of covering this game that you cannot say going in that somebody is better than somebody else until the thing is finished. Because it is a sport that is so impossible to determine. And I think it's a tough sport to coach because you probably have gone to all of your classes to learn the systems of hockey, whether it's anything from a trap to a penalty kill to a power play system to whatever system you're going to use. And then the other team steps in and suddenly everybody's system becomes chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when people criticize hockey players or coaches because they aren't doing the things that you think you can see on TV. Well, it was our mutual friend, Doug Smale, who woke me up 40 years ago when he played for the Winnipeg Jets. Well, almost 40 years ago. He was injured for a very short period of time, and he was sitting in the press box. And I'm sitting at the other end. And you would walk past the old press box in Winnipeg Arena and go across the ramp into the bar area where you could have a soda or whatever. And he walks by my little desk in the press box, and Pat Doyle and Ren Davis and all these guys, the old guys are all there. And he stops at my desk and he looks at me and says, "Now I know why you're so critical." Because when you sit in the press box, you see the entire ice.
Yep.
You see everything. And you say as you watch the game, why didn't he make that pass? That pass was wide open. But if you go to a game and you stand by the boards, you can't see that pass.
Right.
To the guy with the puck, there's a guy in front of him, a guy over here, and you can't see that somebody 40 feet up the ice is there. So when players make these tremendous passes between sticks or between guys' legs, I'm in awe of the brilliance and the hockey IQ and how good these guys are, because from above, you can see that. But from the ice level, you have no idea it's there unless you're playing the game.
That's the wisdom of Scott Taylor. That's why we do this every Thursday night. You've learned something tonight. And you know what? I've learned something as well. The highlight of my week, well, it was an article written by Brad Schlossman, the great coverage of UND hockey that he does so extremely well. Wrote an article on statistics. And the statistics of this University of North Dakota hockey team. Pretty much in the top 5 in the country in possession in the opposing teams into the rink. They're very strong in the center ice zone. They're very strong on faceoffs. But their goals against average isn't very good. Thus, they're losing a lot of games. They 18 shots against St. Cloud last week, and Mr. Ingram scored a goal. Ingram, right? Yeah, from Winnipeg, scored a goal in that lopsided victory by St. Cloud. We talk about the fan base and how easy it looks from up in the press box. UND is doing everything right, just not winning a lot of games. But boy, we're hearing a lot of rumbling about people not being happy about this UND hockey team. It is amateur hockey, by the way, folks. I'm going to throw that one in there. But you know, the critical aspect of the fan base sitting up, drinking their beverage, seeing the whole ice sheet, the game looks awful doggone easy, doesn't it? Like you just stated.
Well, not just that, but it's the addition of the other team that people tend not to pay any attention to. That when you're playing hockey, and especially at high levels, like NCAA, Western Hockey League, American Hockey League, NHL, Players are in your face faster at every level as you go up. And they're in your face. And it's especially apparent at the NHL level where the money's so great. And the guys who are there want to stay there. I had a friend, Darren Helm, who just won a Stanley Cup with Colorado, veteran player, a number of years ago, say it's the hardest game to play because there's always somebody in the American League ready to take your job. Mm-hmm. It's so easy to have two bad shifts and suddenly find yourself in the AHL and another guy's there.
Right.
And what that means is that the players on the other team are on you faster than you ever imagined they were. You don't have any space. And the game gets quite difficult when the other team comes in and says, I want to win this game too. Mm-hmm. And fans tend to forget that the other team is there. The other thing is this: statistics are for losers. And this new analytics thing to me I like what there's a shots thing. What's it called? It's got a funny name. I don't even pay any attention to it anymore because 3 seasons ago, the last time I paid attention to it, the top 5 teams in the league in this stats all missed the playoffs.
Yeah, statistics.
It's a pointless. There's a ton of pointless analytics in the NHL. Mm-hmm. Goals against average will pretty much tell you where you stand. And
that's the one I like.
Will tell you where you stand. Mm-hmm. If you score more goals than the other team, chances are very, very good you're going to win.
That's some real deep analytics right there. You don't get that anywhere else in the hockey radio talk world that we're dealing with. That's some really deep stuff. You know, but
that's analytics at its purest form.
Yep. And you know what about analytics? There's also guys who do analytics about putting people's butts in the seats. And we have a little guest today, Dorian Morphy from the Winnipeg Jets, part of the marketing team, correct?
Vice president of marketing, the boss.
Oh, he's way up there. We talk to we don't talk to state. We talk to VPs. We talk to the president, Mark Chipman, quite often as well, by the way. By the way, listen to Game on Hockey in the Mighty 790 KF show. That's Scott Taylor. I'm Travis Dunn. Eric Johnson's running the show back over there. He does great bump music too, by the way. We're ramping up our bump music game. But Dorian will be talking about, way you can get group tickets. You can get into the Winnipeg Arena and watch NHL hockey at its finest. And with the big discount, it's not a senior discount. It's called the exchange rate, which is very much in your favor right now.
But $149 ticket at the Jets game for somebody from Grand Forks is probably about $32.
About $32 in the hotel. It's $149 is about $32. So for $65, you can go to a hockey game. We also have a young man from East Grand Forks, Minnesota, Josh. I got to find his name here. Josh Nelson, who plays for the Steinbach Pistons of the Manitoba Junior Hockey League. One of our goals between Scott and myself is finding places, opening people's minds, opportunities of places to go to play hockey, to grow your game, to get that Division I or Division II, whatever your goal in hockey is. Josh played at East Grand Forks for the Green Wave. He's now in Steinbach playing. We're going to get a perspective from him today. And of course, Gordy Tummelson from the Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy will be joining us as well. But this is from the Nilles Law Firm studio. Established in the early 1900s, the Nilles Law Firm provides legal services in more than 10 areas of practice, including business and corporate law, estate planning, wills and trusts, probate, commercial litigation, adoption services, as well as real estate. A division of Nilles Law Firm is Northern Title, which provides complete closing and escrow services, along with title insurance policies for all types of real estate transactions in North Dakota, as well as Minnesota. Call Nilles Law Firm at 701-237-5544, or look them up on the World Wide Web at nilleslaw.com. So you're waving at me? Yes? Yes? You got something to say?
Yeah, and I'm waving at Dorian, who's waiting in the wings.
Oh, you're waving at Dorian. Okay, well, we're going to do this. We're going to take a break, pay some commercials. Derek at the Red Hen, he's got some great information to share with you, by the way. So stay tuned and listen into this commercial. But Derek's at the Red Hen. We'll come back after this break. You're listening to Game on Hockey on a beautiful Thursday night on the Mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7 FM.
Well, that was a good intro. Hi, Dorian.
How are you guys?
Good. Great. Are you in your office?
Sorry, did I get let in too early?
Oh, no. Are you still in your office?
Yeah, just finishing off a day and heading home to watch the game.
You go home or do you stay there and watch the game? That's a nice looking TV behind you.
Yeah.
90 KFCO and 104.7 FM. We appreciate you joining us each and every Thursday night. There'll be a bit of a time change once NFL season is over. I think we'll be moving back till 6 p.m., but we'll give you a good heads up as far as that is concerned. But this is from the Nilles Law Firm studio. We appreciate their sponsorship each and every week as well. You can follow us on Twitter at TravisGDunn1 or at @STaylor Sports, or text club number 35270. So, Scott, I'll let you introduce our next guest.
Our next guest is the Vice President of Marketing for the Winnipeg Jets. His name is Dorian Morphy. Dorian and I go back a lot of years, a long time. And he's always been brilliant and continues to be brilliant to this day. The man kind of responsible for a lot of things with the Winnipeg Jets. Give me an outline quickly of all the things you have your hands in as VP of Marketing of the club.
Sure. So I oversee 6 areas. Obviously the marketing area, community relations, our game presentation, our digital strategy and products group, our retail group, and did I mention Paul? Community relations. So yeah, it's a lot, and I've got some really talented people working in those areas. Got to work with some folks that have been here for over 10 years as directors, and it's so it's pretty broad what I oversee, but it's very rewarding.
You aren't directly involved with the actual sale of tickets, but the things you do are directly involved with selling those tickets. So you've got some big games coming up. You've had some big games, but when I say that, I'm not talking about the action on the ice, not Vegas next week or Washington on Sunday, but you have some games coming up that have a lot to do with the marketing team of the Winnipeg Jets. Fill us in on some of the big things coming up.
Yeah, I would say we actually just came off a big stretch this past November with a lot of our promotions, and we're actually coming into a stretch where there's less promotions, and we typically keep that away from December. It's just a harder month for fans to engage with those, but I would say there's lots of promotions in the second half. We've got our skills competition coming up in early January. We've got an interesting night. We've added a couple of multicultural nights this year. One just happened in November, Filipino Heritage Night, and we sort of honored that community. We have a South Asian Heritage Night coming up in February as well. And those 2 nights are just a reflection, I guess, of our growing population in Winnipeg and in our community, and sort of takes off from our very successful what we call Wasak Night, which is our sort of a celebration of Indigenous culture, which we've had for 3 or 4 years now. And so that's coming up in February, and then we've got other promotions on and on into March and April, but try to keep the promotional schedule robust so that our fans can sort of pick and choose from each night. So
now you've got a big game coming up that doesn't involve the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, an interesting
this is a huge event.
Yeah, it came to us there. So we got a call from Gordon Miller, who he's a play-by-play announcer in Canada for TSN, and he was involved in helping basically the Ukraine U25 men's national team come over to North America to play in the Winter University Games in Lake Placid. What's interesting about this team is he explained to us that all these players are currently on the front lines and fighting, and they're going to be granted a leave to come over to North America and play these games. So we immediately wanted to help, and what he's organizing is, before these games in Lake Placid, he's organizing sort of a stop, sort of a preparation tour to play 4 universities. So University of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, University of Calgary, University of Alberta, and then our University of Manitoba Bison. So he asked if we would help house the game at Canada Life Center, and we were absolutely willing to help. And we're gonna take the night before as well and call it Support for Ukraine. night. We've got a famous, Winnipeg-wise at least, a famous Ukrainian choir that sings our anthem, and we're bringing them out for the night. We'll obviously recognize that team that night, and then really push for some donations to help humanitarian causes in Ukraine, and also just help this team fund their trip. So yeah, it's on January 9th and against the Bisons, and then our game is the night before, January 8th.
You're listening to Game on Hockey on the Mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7 FM. The voice of Scott Taylor, of course, is my co-pilot on a weekly basis. And you tell I've done this before. I do radio every week. And Dorian Morphy, who is the vice president of marketing for the Winnipeg Jets. You know, all sorts of really great things going on, getting people north of the border. Now, one thing Scott and I have talked about ad nauseum is the fact how easy it is to get across the border. The exchange rate's very good. If there's a group of people that want to come up and looking for group discounts, things of that nature, how do they go about doing so, Dorian?
No, absolutely. So our group sales department would love to hear from different groups. Certainly, there's many hotels in around our building. We actually have a gaming center right adjacent to our building. And we've often coupled sort of a hotel package with free play that, you know, for people who want to come up. It's a great event night. Actually, you know, we actually play in the Minnesota Wild on December 27th, which I know a lot of your listeners would potentially be fans of. We also do have a lot of fans who are Jets fans who come up. So yeah, it's an easy 2.5 hour drive. It is easy to get across the border. It's certainly easier than it has been in the last couple of years.
Yeah, thankfully.
And we've got some great division rival games coming up. I think there's also a game on the 29th as well. So it's sort of a home for the holidays kind of 2 games there that would be just perfect.
You have also been doing some things with your jerseys. Now, this is an NHL wide thing, this retro reverse jersey thing. You're going to wear it tonight in St. Louis for the game tonight. Yeah. You've been wearing it at home, and that's been fun because it's a white jersey. So the visiting team comes in their colors, and that's sure been fun to watch when Chicago was in, and we got to see the old Blackhawks Reds, and it was great to watch. What happens with this thing? How do you come up with the ideas to do it? Who gets hired to put it together? What's the process for a third jersey?
Right. So this particular program, the reverse retro program, is a league-wide initiative. So all 32 teams have a reverse retro jersey. It's actually our second iteration of that program. The first reverse retro initiative was in, I think, 2021. It was delayed a little bit because of COVID, but so we had one there, and this is sort of the second one. The basic idea, and this, you guys would have seen this in the NFL with Color Rush or the NBA's city jerseys, is sort of creating this very short period of time where our teams are wearing the jersey. We're allowed to wear it during basically middle of November to middle of January. And the basic idea is taking a retro look from the past from our team and reversing the colors. So you could either use existing colors, old team colors. So obviously some teams like Seattle, they have no history to draw on. So, you know, they've obviously had their own different reverse retro, but it's about an 18-month process. So NHL, Adidas, our team work together on what jersey we want to do. We did pick a white one. I think there was actually 10 teams that went with a white jersey this time. And for us, we basically picked our 90s jersey, which if for those that remember the infamous whiteouts, that was obviously a big era for that. You know, the whiteout actually started in the 80s, but you know, there were some great whiteouts that inspired this jersey. And actually back in that day, teams wore white at home. And so you did see different colored jerseys come in, which I think was actually nice. These days you play with your darker jersey at home and you see just white jerseys come in every night. And it's kind of nice to see a yellow jersey come in one night, then a green one, then a blue, so we had some fun with it. We obviously we had a couple of things in November, which sort of aligned with us being able to wear it in November. We inducted Teemu Selanne and Teppo Numminen, 90s players. So that actually aligned, and we wore it the night we honored them into our Hall of Fame. We also had a 90s night in November, and so it kind of worked out. And so we worked with the league, we worked with Adidas. We had fun with, there used to be a charity patch on our shoulder in the 90s. It was called Goals for Kids, and we replicated that with our current foundation. So, and I put a True North Foundation patch on it. So yeah, we've just been having fun with it. Our fans have really responded to it and love it, and we can't keep it on the shelves.
Well, it's fun times for the Winnipeg Jets right now. A little more fun this year, Dorian, versus last year. You can tell that your hair's not as gray as it was last year. It's actually getting darker. I understand the way the team's playing, winning a lot of games. A great product on the ice, and the NHL, of course. Nothing's better when you get the Minnesota Wild playing the Winnipeg Jets, which is coming up on December 27th. For those who are listening, if you want to get some tickets, Dorian and the crew north of the border, those are the guys to call and get in touch with in that regard. Dorian, thank you so very much for joining us. You're welcome anytime. We appreciate the insight. Marketing, there's a lot more goes on the marketing, Scott, than you and I could even imagine. And the planning out 18 months, 20 months. There's a long-term plan in place, isn't there, Scott?
Well, yeah, I remember Dorian and I had a conversation one time, and we were talking, I don't even know what the subject was, but he said, no, nobody cares about what's going to happen next week. They care about what's going to happen 5 years from now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what marketing is. Of course, there's another description of marketing from Family Guy. Liquor and guessing.
That's a good point. Yeah. Well, Dorian, we'll leave you with that. Vice President of Marketing for the Winnipeg Jets. Thank you for joining us. I forgive Scott for that line, Dorian. We'll just cut him off next time. We turn his microphone off. But thanks for joining us on a beautiful Thursday night. You're welcome. You're welcome anytime, and good luck the rest of the way as the Winnipeg Jets. Hopefully, we'll get that Stanley Cup hoisted someday. That'd be really awesome to see. But we'll do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll pitch this to Derek Hansen, who's at a tap house right now. He'll fill us in on what's going on.
Thanks, Dorian. That was great. It was excellent.
Thank you, guys.
So in the new year, do it again.
You bet.
Okay.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, my friend. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Josh.
Hello.
Josh, are you there? Turn on your camera, lower left. There you are.
Hey.
Hey, I'm Scott. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, we had Nick Mikan on, but Nick's a Minneapolis guy. He was Minneapolis stuff. I'm more interested in East Grand Forks and the teams that we speak to. So it's great to have you on.
I actually listened to his interview when you had him on a few months ago.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's a Minneapolis guy, right?
Yeah.
So thanks for doing this. We're going to talk about how you got to the MJ and kind of that story and all your history of playing in East Grand. And I'll get my cough drop out of my mouth. And I got that RSV. It's going around, that chest thing, but it never got to my chest. It never got any lower in my throat. So I haven't been sick, but I had this cough for like 5 weeks. And it just feels like there's a little piece of popcorn caught in your throat. It's just really annoying. That's all it is.
Sounds terrible. I mean, it seems like it's going around everywhere right now.
How's your team?
I'd say half the guys are sick. So just got to battle out Christmas.
Yeah, you know how those locker rooms get. One guy gets sick and boom.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, am I reading Jurvel's? Jurvel's hockey world. How do you like playing for Paul?
It's awesome. I love it. He's a great guy, great coach.
One of my favorite people on the planet.
How long have you known him then?
Ooh, a lot of years. Well, it goes back to when Rich Gosselin was the coach. After the team moved from Beausejour to Steinbach, that might be 15 years ago. And then 12, 15 years ago. And Rich was coach for about a year, and then they hired Paul, and he's been there ever since. But I knew of Paul when he was a player, because he was a good player here, and he played in Europe, and he was he's the guy that if you're a 20-year-old and the scholarship doesn't come, he can get you to Europe because he knows everybody over there.
Yeah, it seems like he has connections everywhere. It's
He knows everybody, and he's such a good guy. Like, I guess that's what winning does. You win all the time, you're always in a good mood, right?
yeah, no kidding.
It's easy to be a happy guy. Like, I'd hate to coach a last place team. That'd make me crazy.
But no, he's done an amazing job here. He's glad because he's a great guy.
Is it a fun place to play?
It's unreal. I mean, the whole community's behind you and everything, so there's nothing like it really.
That's great. And you're a small town guy, sort of. Like East Grand Forks. Grand Forks is what, 50,000 people?
Yeah. And actually I grew up in Oslo, just north of East Grand Forks.
Oh yeah. So that's a small town. So you're used to, like, Steinbach's a big town to you for Oslo.
Yeah.
30 seconds back, guys.
Yes, it is a beautiful Thursday night in Fargo, North Dakota. I hope whatever they're predicting for next Tuesday and Wednesday is completely wrong, and the snowstorm either goes south or it goes north to our friends north of the border. Congratulations. That'd be my early Christmas gift for Scott, so he can go do some more shoveling. You're listening to Game on Hockey on the Mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7 FM. Scott Taylor, my partner in crime, each and every Thursday night. Make sure to stay tuned. A little NFL football, Las Vegas Raiders against the Los Angeles Rams. So that'll be at 6:30, and tomorrow night, Friday night, will be UND hockey. Tim Hennessy and Darren Looker on the call as they take on Western Michigan. And hopefully it's a more successful weekend than they've had in the past couple of weekends. But with that, we have a little commercial for Scott to read. And I know our next guest loves Jarrell's Hockey World. Go ahead, Scott.
He must have grown up with it, I would think.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
absolutely.
Christmas. And that means Jarrell's Hockey World is the place for everything you need to make Christmas perfect for your favorite hockey player or fan. Jarrell's has knit beanies, Bauer mystery mini sticks, or any mini stick for that matter. Jarrell's has it all. It has the best sticks in the game, all of the best protective equipment bags, even nets for road hockey or the backyard rink. And Jarrell's has Bauer and CCM clothing, plus everything you need to fill the stockings: skate guards, laces, tape, wax, pucks, even stick handling balls. That's what you and I need. We need a little stick handling ball.
Yeah, work on those wrists.
If you can't think of one item for your hockey lover, you got an easy choice. Just pick up a gift card. Let her decide what she'd love to have from Jarrell's. In business for 50 years and the 2021 U.S. Bauer Retailer of the Year, right here in our backyard, Jarrell's Hockey World, 1004 South Washington Street in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Call 701-775-0553 and add us at Jarrell's Hockey. There you go.
There you go.
Stick handling ball.
Right here on our show. Yeah, that's a lousy imitation right there. But anyway, well, we opened the gate and we let Josh Nelson in. And who's Josh Nelson? Well, he's from East Grand Forks. Well, I heard he was born in Oslo, Minnesota. He played hockey for the East Grand Forks Green Wave, and he's following his dream north the border. And this is what Scott and I do every week. We try to introduce you to places for young men to go, and young women many times as well, to the various leagues around the country, whether it be the NAHL, the USHL, the MJHL is not a bad place to go either. And Josh is going to explain. He's playing for the Steinbach Pistons. Take it away, Scott.
Josh, I want to talk to you about your process. You came out of East Grand Forks, and now you're playing in Manitoba. It's not a thing that happened 10 years ago. And now it's happening more and more all the time. You're not the only US-born player playing for the Steinbach Pistons. Tell me your story and how you ended up in Steinbach.
Yeah, well, actually, right after I graduated from East Grand Forks, I actually played a year at the University of Minnesota Crookston club hockey. And I guess playing juniors was always something that I wanted to do. And I was kind of just looking around, and I mean, I was just drawn in by how many championships they've won and how they're always a contender and how many players are advancing to the next level. So I thought I'd give Coach Paul Dick a call, and I was fortunate enough that he gave me the opportunity to play.
Was it that simple that you just decided you were going to play there? How did you find out about the league? What's your history with the MJHL?
Yeah, so in high school, I was in talks with a few teams, and I've kind of known of the league for a while now. And I guess that was always an option for me. So, and obviously, the Steinbach Pistons are a great organization, so I've always kind of wanted to play here. And I guess, yeah, so I just ended up here, and I'm very fortunate.
Now, was one of the reasons for you coming north an opportunity to develop your game over a couple of years to get that D1 scholarship? Is that kind of the plan?
Yeah, for sure. And I think Steinbach does a great job of developing their players. I mean, last year I think we had 5 or 6 Division I commitments, and I mean they left, and now I feel like there's a lot more on our team this year that potentially will commit. So I guess just the coaching staff does a great job of developing us, and I mean we have all the resources here to be better on the ice and off the ice too. So.
Well, tell us about the Manitoba Junior Hockey League. I'm a graduate of it. I played for the St. Barnabas Saints, a team that no longer exists. That franchise went away quite a long time ago. Talk about the competitive level within the MJHL, and again back to scouts at games, college scouts at games. Tell us about that ambiance and how many you see and the opportunities that are being presented to other players as well as yourself moving forward.
Yeah, I think this league is a fast league. It's full of skilled players, and I think a lot of players around the league have potential to play at the next level. I mean, there's various teams that have Division I commitments already, and I mean, I think the league has progressed over the past few years, and it's continuing to get more traction from not only players from Manitoba, but across Canada and the US as well.
You are not alone as an American player on the team. Do you guys stick together?
Try to, yeah. But I guess we're kind of outnumbered, so we.
Are there some friendly rivalries there in practice and whatnot?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially like last year during the Olympics, we kind of had some fun and games with that. But no, it's all fun.
You know, I'd obviously you're in your second year now with the Pistons. Last year, 11 assists over the course of 38 games, I believe it is, and this year more games. Obviously, COVID affected things last year. 10 assists to this point this year. Looking for that first goal. A man after my own heart. I love it, Scott. When a defenseman doesn't score goals.
You never did score a goal, did you?
I never, not at UND. I didn't know. I did have 13 massive assists over the course of 2 seasons, but we won't go. It's not about me. It's about our guest. Anyway, what opportunities are coming your way?
Yeah, but you can feel for a defenseman who doesn't have a number of G.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? The statistics are goals against average. That's what I love, and I'm sure Josh feels the same way. What opportunities are being presented to you at this point? Are there teams? Do you have an idea where you may end up next year, or is that still something in the crystal ball?
I guess, yeah, obviously playing at the next level, playing Division I is obviously the goal, and nothing's come of it yet, but hopefully as the team keeps on progressing throughout the year, we'll get some offers.
You are playing for a guy who probably has more contacts than anybody else I know in hockey. Tell potential players coming to the MJHL about Paul Dick and the people he knows and what kind of a coach he is to play for.
Yeah, I mean, first off, he's an unreal person and a great coach, and I love playing for him. And I guess I wouldn't be here without him giving me that opportunity. But yeah, I mean, the connections that he has is unreal. I mean, he knows everybody, it seems like. And so one of the reasons I actually came here was because of how many players play at the next level, and I credit Paul for that too. I mean, he's he's a great coach, and he'll get you to the next level.
Well, next Thursday, I believe we have the president of the Manitoba Junior Hockey League, right, Scott?
The commissioner, Kevin
The
Sorrell.
commissioner,
And talk about more and more players like Josh who are coming north. Before COVID, it had reached into the 60s. Now we're, I think, about 45 maybe in the league, but that's going to grow next year. There is a real draw for guys like Josh to come to the Manitoba Junior Hockey League and A, get that opportunity to play Division I hockey, and B, make the MJHL better.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. And Josh, we appreciate you jumping on board. I'm anticipating you're a UND hockey fan because you grew up in East Grand Forks, but I know there's some Duluth probably pull that direction too with your Oslo connections. But good luck as you venture forth, and good luck with your goal of getting that Division I scholarship. Hope it works out for you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Hey, thanks, Josh. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
That's Josh. What a great representative, Josh Nelson. I was working on that. I was looking at my script. I just couldn't quite find the last name. But again, we're just trying to introduce people to where the options are to go, whether it be the MJHL, NAHL. We're not recommending one over the other, but there are just different routes for guys to take, aren't there?
Well, and that's why we have Pilot Mound on every week, and that's why Gordy Thomas is going to join us real soon here.
Yep.
There are more opportunities now for players everywhere to become better hockey players and get that opportunity to play. And maybe that opportunity is ACHA.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Division III. Whatever it is, it's still scholarship money. It's still going to school and have part of your school paid for. And the best way to do that is to play as often as you can at as high a level as you can. And if you're not getting that opportunity where you are, maybe in a rural part of North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, there are opportunities in Manitoba to get that chance. And there are not only that, but there are opportunities to play in towns that you're used to playing in.
Mm-hmm.
The great thing about Pilot Mound, for instance, or about playing in Steinbach, about playing in Niverville, playing in Virden, playing in Neepawa, playing at Wayway, is that there are teams that are playing in communities that are tiny. So you're not jumping into Winnipeg at 17 and playing in the big city,
where it's
often difficult to get around, difficult to find parking, difficult to do a lot of things. But you're playing in a community that A, really wants the team there,
right,
and B, is something that you're really, really accustomed to. And that's one of the things Josh Nelson and I talked about in the break, is that with the Pistons, he loves the community.
Yeah.
He's used to the size of the community. He loves the fact that community comes to all the games. It feels like home. And that's the thing that we're trying to sell to kids, or give the opportunity to kids, that there are chances to play if you don't necessarily make the first line of your high school team. If you don't get the D1 scholarship when you graduate, there are chances to get there.
And we've hopefully introduced a lot of that to a lot of you out there. We do appreciate you joining us every Thursday to get this great information. You know what? This segment was brought to you by the Sioux Shop and the Ralph Engelstad Arena. Well, we'll lead up to North Dakota versus the U.S. National Under-18 team, Saturday, 4 p.m., New Year's Eve. You can get tickets at the REA box office or Ticketmaster starting at just $20. You can spend New Year's Eve with me and Tim Hennessy. How lucky could you possibly be? And if you want, you can go to the Sioux Shop in the Ralph Engelstad Arena and buy your hoodies. You can buy your basketball, volleyball, soccer t-shirts, obviously hockey gear, baseball caps. They have it all. It'll be after Christmas, so maybe they have a Christmas special or two, who knows? But you can also do it online at REA at siouxshop.com. So you can do your shopping for all your gear well before the snowstorms come. Well, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk with Gordy Tummelson, the goaltender coach. Oh, well, take a break, and we fire it first, though. Well, first, this has been Game on Hockey with Travis Dunn and Scott Taylor. To Derek he's at a hen house. That's what it looks like. He's hanging out with some ice cold beverages. You know, this is probably one of the greatest songs in the history of radio. Has to be. Stompin' Tom Connors. The puck goes down the ice. You know, the fans go wild, all that fun stuff. But we do this every Thursday night, ladies and gentlemen, 5:30 to 6:30 with Scott Taylor and myself. And I hope you enjoy each and every one of these shows and learn something each and every week. And I know I do. And with that, Scott's going to teach us about the Golf Center. What about it, my friend?
Well, it's time to move the golf game indoors now. It's wintertime.
Yeah.
The Golf Center has a complete line of golf simulators and hitting mats, nets, and training aids, and they're all in stock to help you. Garmin R10, Bushnell Launch Pro, and SkyTrack can help you keep your swing in its groove all winter long. If you're looking for the perfect Christmas gift for the golfer in your life, the Golf Center can help. I'm telling you, they have a full inventory of bags, FootJoy golf shoes, golf balls, as well, and get lots of golf balls, because Travis and I both know you need lots of golf balls.
Lots of golf balls.
As well as that clothing to look good in the course. You don't need to look like us with the cargo pants and the old shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Golf Center. Santa shops at the Golf Center. Give Brian and the guys a call at the Golf Center, 3001 South Columbia Road in Grand Forks, or call them at 701-775-0019. The Golf Center in Grand Forks, North Dakota.
And the man that always has his groove on, that's Gord Tummelson. He's the goaltender instructor, coach, head coach, does all the stuff with all the goaltenders at Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy. Gord, you're kind of a busy guy right now, but is there a school break coming up here shortly? You'll get a few days off.
Yeah, we kids are gone about the 22nd of December right through to the first week of January, I guess. So probably the 3rd or the 4th, they're back and back at school and back with us. And yeah, everybody needs a break. The kids need a break from us, I can assure you. And we certainly we can use a break from them and ourselves. I mean, the coaches, we're as hard on ourselves as we are in the kids. But there's a break coming up.
You've got 8 goalies you're working with at Pilot Mound. Yeah. And then you've got this little goaltenders operation that you run, and you've got some goaltenders in Winnipeg that you're dealing with as well.
Yeah, I got a bunch of kids in Winnipeg just doing video review primarily. There's a few visits here and there, but mostly it's just video review. And it's amazing. I mean, video is a wonderful thing. And, you know, the kids don't remember what they look like when they make a save, they get it scored on, they have their idea of what happened. We go through it and they find, oh, I didn't realize that. And maybe they didn't look as bad as they thought they did, or they look worse than they thought they did. So it's a neat tool, and we can accomplish an awful lot on video that we don't have to go to practice. Kids can figure out, oh, I can get better doing this by doing that. So yeah,
you know, and that's obviously the key now. There's so many things available. I know, like, for example, a UND hockey player, when they get back to their dorm, not their dorm, their house, wherever they're at, they actually have emailed to them a breakdown of every one of their shifts, all video of all their shifts, so they can watch it. The stuff available, and you don't have to be on the ice to get better. Watching it, they improve just by seeing and believing, correct?
Absolutely. We show the other goalies as much as they show themselves, just to see what this guy does or that girl does, et cetera, et cetera. And oh, okay, I get it. And you know, and they get it. So that's really neat. It's 1,000 words, right? Pictures worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, but it's also fun when you're dealing with kids who want to be sponges, and that makes it a lot easier for you.
Well, you know, my philosophy in this goaltending thing is 2 things. One is the player's responsible for his own level of achievement. You know, we give them all the support people, give him everything he needs. We'll work ourselves. The parents work themselves. We all do what we need to do, but the kid is responsible. So here you go. There's books. There's videos, there's sayings, there's whatever. It's all there. We give it to them if they want it, and they take it. And goalie kids are pretty neat that way. They of course, it's a caring position. You have to care to be there, and it's a horribly responsible position sometimes. And you feel bad when you get scored on. You feel bad when you lose. Sometimes you feel bad when you win because you didn't play great. But it's a tough place to play and a tough position in this sports world, but it's fun.
Yeah, well, that's Gord Tummelson, Pilot Mound Hockey Academy. In the last couple of seconds, how do they get a hold of Pilot Mound? Obviously, a website. How can they get a hold of Gord Tummelson?
Yeah, pilotmoundhockeyacademy.com. That's the big one. If you want goalies,
nice,
Gord Tummelson, goalies.ca. So there you go.
There you go. Thanks, Gordy. Thanks for joining us on a beautiful Thursday night. I hope the snowstorm goes to you guys and doesn't get us, but that push and pull goes on all
What a
winter
nice guy that Travis Dunn is.
Oh, I was once upon a time. Well, Scott, wrapping up another wonderful show. Great guests. Dorian was phenomenal with the Winnipeg Jets. Josh was great. Let's do this again next Thursday.
Yeah, let's do it again. Let's get Gordy back quick. I got 100 goaltending questions I got to ask Gordy.
Oh boy, that's he can answer them too. For Eric Johnson, for Scott Taylor, I'm Travis Dunn. That's Gord Tummelson, our great guest. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday night. Have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, you guys.
Hey, thanks, Gordy. That was great. That was terrific.
You got her.
You're the best. Talk soon.
You got it. Sure.